Hi. Now, getting food that's well balanced. At first, it's a bit tricky, but after a while, when you start kind of getting the hang of things, it becomes pretty simple. But certain ingredients are very useful, very easy. Sometimes with arthritis, you just feel lousy. You don't want to eat much. You don't want anything heavy, but you still need to get protein. You need to get those nutrients that balance into your diet because it is the best or among the best ways of getting through a flare up. So one ingredient that's really worthwhile playing around with and experimenting with and getting to love, if you like, is quinoa. Quinoa is a very unusual grain because of all the grains, all the plant foods, it unusually contains all of the amino acids, all of the essential amino acids, and the entire spectrum of proteins is in quinoa. It's also extremely high in magnesium, and many other nutrients. I won't get too much into that. Antioxidants. It's a great fiber source, and it's very easy to eat. It's gluten free. It's actually a seed as opposed to a grain, but it's such a nutritional powerhouse, and it's so easy to eat. It's so gentle on your stomach and your digestive system. It is a great option to act as a base for many dishes. With this dish, what I'm going to do is use a base of quinoa. I'm going to just make a very simple dish, a little Cajun kind of quinoa, using some leeks, celery, some greens in it. Going to garnish the whole thing up with some pomegranate seeds. But just, you don't want just a plate of kind of vegetables, or you want something central, I believe, in a dish to turn it into a meal, if you like. And that's just coming from a culinary point of view. So with this, what I want as the central part of the meal is quite simply I'm going to stuff a pepper, and I'm going to stuff it with feta. Feta cheese, again, one of the Greek fermented cheeses, a great protein source in itself. The only thing you have to be careful when using feta is reduce the salt in the entire remainder of the dish, because feta is a little bit on the salty side. It does contain a bit too much, a good lot of sodium. But as a protein source and as a cheese, it's a superb option. And to make my stuffing, all I'm going to do is just take my feta cheese. I've got about 80 grams of feta cheese here. And you don't need to use garlic and over season things all the time. Sometimes us chefs kind of get a little bit too carried away with their seasonings. I'm just going to use the juice of about a quarter of a lemon in there. About a tablespoon of olive oil. I could add a few herbs in here, but I'm going to have plenty of spices in the rest of the dish. I'm just going to crush that together into just a very simple puree, if you like, or crushed cheese. The olive oil just help bring it together and give it a little bit of richness as well, because it is quite a lean cheese. What I'm going to do is use a long pepper, and I'm just going to cut it down a little lower than you might expect, and then I'm just going to remove the seeds from it. And then just very simply stuff it with my feta. And I'll just get on and do that myself in a minute. And then kind of put it back together. And then I'm going to get on and cook the rest of the dish. But again, look at quinoa. Very simple to cook. Oh, and another thing with quinoa, whenever I'm cooking it, it does take a little time to cook, but it stores and freezes very well. Cook a surplus. Put it in a plastic container or in a storage container, stick it in the deep freeze, pull it out as you need it. And that way it's a base for so many dishes then, and really convenient. So I'm going to get on and start cooking this dish. So first, into a pan, preheat your pan, little drop of oil, and then straight away, add your leek, your celery, carrots, and your chili pepper. I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of water just to get a little steam in there. Cover it and cook it until it starts to tenderize, about 3 minutes. Next, into the pan, what I'm going to do is take my pepper, which I had stuffed, and if you remember, I had left a kind of a space in the top, and that'll just be nicer for presentation. I'm going to pop it in the pan and just let that warm through and start to cook for just a few minutes. I could cook it in an oven separately, but why turn on an oven when you don't have to? And having cooked for about 2 minutes, what I'm going to do now is add my little stock cube, good quality stock cube. And I'm going to add my teaspoonful of Cajun spice mix. Just let that cook for just a couple of minutes there again. Next, what I'm going to do is add my quinoa. And if you do find your pan is a little bit dry, just add a couple of tablespoons of water. And just let that cook for just another couple of minutes, just to allow the flavors to infuse. And then finally, I'm going to just take my spinach, add it into the pan, and just allow that wilt down. So I'm just going to cover that up and literally give it just about a minute, just till the spinach starts to wilt. And then after just about 45 seconds, it actually just took. There's my spinach all wilted down, and there's my dish pretty much complete now. And then just to serve that, just going to pop my plate. Spoon on my quinoa. Pop my pepper on top. And then finally, to finish, I'm just going to take my pomegranate seeds, and they're going to give a lovely sweetness to the dish. So generously sprinkle them around the whole dish. And then maybe just a drizzle of extra olive oil. And that's it. A very, very simple, a very high protein vegetable option.